Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Give me a second to go live on Rumble. I had to get off of Rumble. I can't do multiple streamings. I don't got it like that, y'all. I don't got it like that. Okay. Almost finished, y'all. And then we're going to watch this juicy video. Y'all should have seen the gnarly spider that was in my house. What's funnier is when I move, and I decide to move where I'm going and get a bigger place. Is going to be more buggies, you know. Okay, so let's get started and watch the full length video with Trump and Zelenskyy. They probably got briefed before. Who knows? So the same thing that happened um, before didn't, it didn't happen again because they got into it the first time. So I figure, they got briefed before, and yeah. So let's get started. Come on. Hey, what is going on? Oh my God. Technical difficulties. Let me see something. I gotta write some people on Matchmaker. Excuse me, man. Excuse me. Because, wow, it's always technical difficulties. Okay, I'm gonna exit out of the actual streaming and I'll be right back on here. I'm not getting off of here, I'm just exiting. Okay, here we go. 141,004,000. Hold on. Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all. Hold on, y'all. So, I'm watching Donald Trump right now, you guys, and Zelensky speak. If you could you follow me at the Kimberly Cloud Show uh, 39 on Facebook? That's the Kimberly Cloud Show 39 on Facebook. Thank you. it shows that money doesn't mean that a war would end or stop. Funding the war is always seemingly beneficial, but it's not always beneficial, because all the $300 billion or $1 million, I want to say $1 billion, got poured into the war, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. These are real life issues. All this money funded the war that it was given to Zelensky uh, and his administration, and uh, really, nothing. I have to carefully word my words. The war went on, and Putin, still, you know, fought on. Putin still fought on the war. So it's safe to say that bringing money into the table don't always guarantee that a war will be ended. But it was kind of funny that President Trump said that 3 years from now, if a war ensued, that Zelensky can't have another election. That's a scary thing. What's scary is the children. That's why I believe Putin was taking the Ukrainian children. I don't know what he's doing, but the reason why I say this is because 2 decades from now, when they're old enough to fight a war, they're going to be ready for anything can happen in 2 decades from now, or a decade and a half. Instead, Kareem Jean Pierre singing with the different world crew, it's a different world. You know, they're singing "It's a Different World." Y'all don't remember seeing that clip? After this, I'll show it to you. Hopefully, I get to see it. But you know, they sitting up there, you know, shouting out that it's a different world when where was our president to sit up there and put a ceasefire or end the war, period. Very disappointed in the presidency. I don't want to call him dumb. Trump is allowed to. I'll just say this. I'll say that how did a man that uh, he plagiarized a speech. I forgot. I'm not going to show y'all that, but he plagiarized the speech. You can go back on his time record. That's why I'm doing this documentary. So nobody can never say that I didn't come out my mouth and say something myself, you know. But, um, you know, he plagiarized, and he he is incompetent. You know, we don't know what his story is. You know, for all we know, you know, there was cocaine in the White House. There was cocaine in the White House left in the bathroom. For all we know, you know, and then, you know, there was rumors going around like drugs, certain types of drugs causes cancers and stuff. You know, you can catch cancers from drinking too much. You can catch stomach cancer. You can catch cancer, certain cancers, if you use certain illegal substances. I'm not saying he did that. I'm not saying he did that. But I strongly doubt there were marks on his hand. And a lot of journalists was talking about it. There were marks on his hand because he needed IVs. You know, he was very sick, you know, and they were hiding it. They were hiding it. They, you know, and that's some sick people that did that. They were hiding his incompetence. He was too old to work. You know, maybe he would have had a fighting chance if he didn't have a a, a, a possible form of dementia. You know, he has prostate cancer. You know, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, and I know that doing certain things can cause cancer. You know, and I'm not saying that he did anything. I'm just saying that, you know, the pieces don't all fit. You know, he I tried to reach out to him. He probably looked at me as a terrorist, you know, organization, just like one white male wanted answers from him about his daughter dying by an illegal, and he actually called him a terrorist. I was writing the White House constantly, like I do now, and with no relief. I never threatened Biden. That's one thing I never did. I didn't even know you can. They said that when Biden was president, I looked up whether you can um, put a lawsuit on the president, because it was getting to that point, things were going south, and he still have some say so in certain things. Everything isn't. He's not blacklisted from you know uh, the government. So him and Gavin Newsom was like is like this, and we know he don't like Trump. So you got Obama, Biden, Hillary. You know, I hope Zelensky take the deal. If the deal don't get taken, then I'm gonna get a little weirded out by that. If it's a good deal and he doesn't take it, you know, I'm gonna get weirded out by that because I'm gonna be like, why you ain't take the deal, bro? You know, that means that Putin to have some land by the Black Sea so that he can get his naval um, base, his Russian naval base, get to his Russian naval base more sufficiently. Next thing they're gonna say is feces in the coffee. Now they're saying butter in the coffee is great for you. Next they're gonna be like a little bit of feces go a long way. You know, it's crazy. The people at the Republican Party at Lompoc, they were stating that um, their opinion was that there were um, something about missing ballots or something they were talking about. So there you go. This show was developed and made just for the Trump Zelenskyy meeting, and I made sure I made it while I was doing another show. Um, I hope that the deal goes through, and there should be it should be a sealed type deal where if it does happen, it happened with no repercussions, that happens like 10 years from now, no repercussions, 10, 20 years. It should be, it should be, the deal should be sealed, um, if it goes through. Um, I'm hoping it goes through. I hope that, there's a peace deal or a ceasefire or whatever the case may be. I really hope because both people have been under stress and a lot of people have died. A lot of people have died. And it's sad, you know. You want to fight in a war and children are dying and teenagers are dying and teenagers are being recruited, you know, men are being recruited, you know, they're up for the slaughterhouse. They know that it's a possibility that they're not coming back home to their wives and children. Imagine that, knowing you won't come home to your wife and child. Instead, you're in a tank and you're fighting a war that wasn't even your fault. You're just getting paid to take care of your wife and children and your family. You know, it's not your fault. And then you're in a coffin or you're being tortured, or it's sad. So I'll do this all the time. Every chance I get, I will make sure that I put out as much news as possible, even when I'm not saying anything. The agenda is straightforward. That I want to get history on my page, history that is MP4 video format. Um, that's what I want to do. Get the perspective of the Republicans, perspective of what's going on, because you got CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, CNN. That's 5 networks versus Live Now and Fox News. 2 networks. And then you got NPR. I think they're canceling that. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. And another is NPR and some other thing. Like they got all the networks. They got all the networks. And history may not get out the way it should be if people are changing and not putting in history that Trump took care of like 6 to 10 wars stemming from 40, almost 40 years ago. You know, he said 37 years ago. I'm 38, 39, 40, 41. I was 4 years old when these wars started. And 1988. So we, yeah. And, if you have your opinion about maybe the Democrats, you're more than welcome to build your own page and actually talk about it. But for this show, I will always take into account the things that has happened over the course of almost 5 years, or uh, yeah, 5 years. And I would take into accordance of what happened for the past 5 years with the Biden administration and the Hunter Biden laptop, and much, much more. The Russia hoax, um, and so much more. I I don't. I think that a lot of us can work together in a bipartisan way, but we tend to get mad at each other for liking another person. Like, for instance, you know, there there could be people that don't like me because I officially and will always talk in a positive aspect or light about Trump. And I'm okay with that as long as you don't try to persuade me to be a certain way, to be a certain way, or think like you. You know, I am a veteran who had um through the Army Review Board had during the same time Donald Trump was in office, they they helped me. They helped me quite a bit. And you know, whatever the case may be, I know what has happened in my life from walking to Canada, trying to seek refuge and being turned away 7 days before I go to Canada. They changed the rules. Biden changed the rules with Canada. And so much has happened, you know, illegal immigrants following me, you know, and so many things have taken place. And I know a lot of people don't like Trump. People are not open-minded about things. They only see what 5 networks plus tell them about him. And they grow hatred. I wouldn't hate somebody. I wouldn't hate somebody. And that is something I can't do. I dislike and I am disappointed in President Biden, but I don't hate him. He's incompetent, but I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I don't want to drive with a diaper to DC, you know, or wherever he is. I don't care where he's at. Even though he got his extravagant beach house with snipers of abundance on the rooftops of it with, you know, artillery weapons. They, you know, he's doing pretty good. You know, he's at the beach doing clocking in and clocking out, and every now and then he'll pop up and make an appearance, you know. But yeah, his beachfront house is one of many houses, but you know, he made it hard for me. They made it hard for me all because I verbally said that, you know, I voted for Trump. And this was during election interference and during the time Facebook was censoring things. Um, and it was terrible. It was terrible. But I bounced out of it. I bounced out of it. And now here we are. And yeah. And here we are with talking about Trump. You know, they asked Putin, what have he done so bad? What mistakes did he make? And he said, those who are without sin cast the first stone. So if you think that Trump is a bad person, when you point that finger at him, there's 3 fingers coming back at you. So think about yourself and what you've done wrong and the mistakes you've made to get to your point that where you're at today. Because nobody's perfect, not even the president. But he rarely makes mistakes. He cares about this country. He cares about this country. And in 4 days, he cleaned up my the District of Columbia. He cleaned up the District of Columbia, and still is cleaning it up. I cannot wait to one day go visit. And I will be going to visit um, while Trump is in office, when the time is right. It'll be sporadic because, you know, I don't want to talk about why, but it'll be sporadic. Dipping in, dipping out, like you put the hokey pokey, how they went from the hokey pokey to the cha-cha dance, but you put your right foot in and you put it out. I'm gonna be in DC and then I'm not gonna be in DC. So yeah, hit now you see me, now you don't, type thing, incognito mode. you know um so yeah, but I appreciate every day that I get on here to talk about him. I wish um I could absorb more. I wish there was a way for me to absorb more of what I listen to, and one day we will have technology that they can just zap something without hurting your brain, but zap a thought into your brain or a video into your brain where it's embedded and you already come up. You think, all you got to do is think about that thought, and the whole video, you can remember it from the beginning to the end. We're doing it now slowly, where we watch the video in a certain piece, and it zaps into our memory through video, through our vision. But if we can do it, we can do it either through our vision or through our hearing. But if we can do it through a simple device and actually charge people, people will pay good money for that, just like they're paying good money for it now. But that's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, maybe 50 years from now. So yeah. And to last thing, to all those women out there that want to start a business and want to be on CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, and CBS, there is the first musical tone, which is a heartbeat. If your mother was like 60 and you're like 40, you can go somewhere and record your mother's heartbeat. And then if you have a child and you have your child, you can actually let them hear the heartbeat. That's a generational thing, where you get to hear your grandmother's heartbeat. And I would give anything to be able to hear my mother's heartbeat. But that's just off subject, like they did with him. So I I feel proud to be a part of DC. I feel proud to be um, born from Greater Southeast Hospital, even though it done gotten a little rough over Southeast. Uh, I feel good. I feel good. You know. Yeah. So, but other than that, let me get off of here. You guys take care, and thank you guys for showing back up. Y'all can have a good job. You know that y'all can have a good job. Y'all show back up on time. Everybody got off the line, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I was like, "Let me just run my show and do my thing." Either way it go, whether it says 04 50, I'm going to do my show. And so I'm running my show. I get back on and I see like there's one person that's not on here, but I don't know who y'all are. I don't know who y'all are, but I I appreciate y'all watching me. Thank y'all. And thank you, White House, for monitoring me. They're like, we gotta monitor this woman, this batshit crazy woman. But I mean everything out of love. Take care, man. I'll see y'all another time. Bye.
Never waste my time, you all I want.